Hi, this is Wendy Wagner, the Rooted Realtor and broker owner at Exit Global Realty. And this is Rooted in Compliance because compliance isn't scary. Today, we are talking about something that seems simple, but can create serious issues in a real estate transaction. Missing signatures. Now, I know signatures may not sound like the most exciting compliance topic. Most of them aren't anyway. But in real estate, signatures matter. Initials matter. Dates matter. And complete paperwork matters. Because a missing signature is not always just a small clerical issue. Sometimes it can affect whether a document is complete, whether the parties have agreed, whether a change was accepted, whether a disclosure was acknowledged, or whether your transaction file supports what actually happened. In Florida, certain real estate agreements need to be in writing and signed to be enforceable. That is one of the reasons we take contracts and written agreements so seriously. Real estate is not the place for casual verbal agreements, unclear paperwork, or half-finished documents. When a buyer and a seller agree to terms, those terms need to be properly documented. When an addendum changes the contract, the required parties need to sign. When an extension changes a deadline, it needs to be properly executed. When a cancellation is being handled, the correct documents need to be completed. When a disclosure is required, it needs to be provided and documented properly. And when your brokerage requires a form, your file needs to reflect that requirement as well. This is why missing signatures can cost you. They can delay a closing. They can create disputes. They can cause confusion between the parties. They can create compliance issues during file review. They can raise questions later if someone says, "I never agreed to that." And they can create risk for the agent and the brokerage. Now, let's also talk about electronic signatures. Electronic signatures are widely used in real estate, and Florida law generally gives electronic signatures the same force and effect as written signatures, unless another law provides otherwise. Federal law also generally says a contract or signature cannot be denied legal effect just because it is electronic. So the issue is usually not whether an electronic signature can be valid. The issue is whether the document was properly completed, properly signed, properly delivered, and properly stored. That is where agents need to slow down. Because it's very easy to send documents out for signatures and assume everything came back correctly. But did every required party sign? Did they sign in the right place? Did they initial where required? Did the dates populate correctly? Was the correct version used? Was the final executed copy saved to the file? Was it delivered to all of the parties according to your brokerage procedure? These details matter. And here is where I want agents to remember one of my favorite compliance rules. Law first, broker policy second. The law gives us the baseline. Your broker's policy tells you how your brokerage handles each file. Your broker may require certain documents to be signed before showings, before offers, before listing activation, before contract submission, before commission disbursement, or before a file can be marked as complete. Your brokerage may also have policies about electronic signature platforms, file naming, deadlines, transaction management systems, document review, and how corrections are handled. So do not assume. Do not say, well, I think it's fine. Do not wait until closing to clean up the file. And do not submit incomplete documents hoping that no one notices. If a signature is missing, ask the question early. If a date is wrong, address it early. If an addendum is incomplete, fix it early. If you are unsure whether a document needs to be signed by one party or all parties, check with your broker, because your broker would rather answer the question before it becomes a problem. Now, let's be clear. Not every missing initial or signature means the same thing. The impact depends on the document, the transaction, the parties, the timing, the law, and your brokerage policy. That is why this video is not legal advice. It is a reminder that paperwork matters, and agents should not try to make legal decisions about enforceability on their own. If there is a question about whether a contract, addendum, disclosure, or agreement is enforceable, that's when your broker and legal counsel may need to become involved. But from a practical compliance standpoint, the best habit is simple. Review before you submit. Review before deadlines. Review before closing. And review before you assume the file is complete. A clean file tells a clear story. A messy file creates questions. And missing signatures create questions we do not want to answer later. So here is the takeaway. If it changes the agreement, get it signed. If it acknowledges a disclosure, document it. If your broker requires it, complete it. If the law requires it, follow it. And if you are unsure, check with your broker. This video is for educational purposes only and is not legal advice. Florida law, federal law, forms, brokerage policy, transaction facts, and legal issues can all matter. So always check with your broker, your brokerage procedures, and when appropriate, legal counsel. Compliance is not about making real estate scary. It's about making clarity. And clarity protects everyone. Comment signature if you want more simple compliance breakdowns like this. Next week, we're going to be talking about why fair housing is not optional. I'm Wendy Wagner, and this has been Rooted in Compliance, because compliance isn't scary. Stay rooted, think global, grow together. Rooted Realtor out.